So we want to look at entity relationship. But before we do that, let's look at database attributes. Some of the attributes in your table. Please, we've looked at some of them, but we didn't look at all of them. Or we didn't look at some other ones. So, but before we go into this class, please you can tell me some of the attributes that a table can have, some of the attributes in a table.
Attributes are simple, composite, and
Multi-value. Multi-value. Thank you.
multi-value. Multi-value.
Okay, thank you so much. Simple, composite, multi-value. But there are still some other attributes aside these ones. So tonight you're going to look at some other ones that are crucial to things we want to explain today. We're going to look at stored attributes, derived attributes, and maybe key attributes. Key attributes, stored attributes, derived attributes, and key attributes. I'm going to be explaining stored and derived attributes together, for they go together. You see, when you have a database table, there are some attributes that can be gotten from other attributes. These attributes that can be gotten from other attributes, they are known as derived attributes. I'll give an example. For instance, let's say in your database you have date of birth. You have a column for date of birth, and you have another column for age. You know, if a user wants to register on your platform, the user, you decide to collect date of birth from the user. I decide to collect age from the user because maybe you need both of them. Of course, these two, among other columns that your table will have. Let's say you have first name, last name, email, others, together with date of birth, together with age. This is 2025. In 2026, you will need to update the age of all your users. Do you get it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I get it.
You need to update the age of all your users because they would have grown by 1 year. In 2027 again, you need to update the age of all your users because they would have grown again by 1 year. That means that every year you need to update the age of your users. So if you have 1 billion users, let's say you are the one managing Facebook. If you have 1 billion users, does that mean that every year you need to write a script or write things that we add 1 to all the ages of all your users? No. You see, these attributes that can be derived from other attributes, they are known as derived attributes. And these attributes, they are not stored in your database. They are not stored there. So whenever you need attributes like this, you can always get them from the other attributes. So you don't store age in this case. Instead, you only store date of birth because from date of birth, you can derive age. Do you understand this?
Yes, sir.
So from date of birth, you can derive age. For that reason, you store date of birth, you don't store age. So the summary of what I've said is that derived attributes, the attributes that are not stored in the database because they can be gotten from other attributes. While stored attributes, you're welcome to class. While stored attributes, the attributes that you store in your database, you store them. So date of birth is an example of such. Your first name is an example of such. Your last name is an example of such. Those ones that you store in your database, they are known as stored attributes. But those ones that you don't store because you can get them from others, they are known as derived attributes. Let's look at another derived attribute together. Let's say in your table, you have a column for first name. You have another column for last name. You have another column for, let's say, middle name. You have another column for full name. Then among others, email, password, and the rest. Now, you can always get the middle name from these three. First name, last so you can always get the full name from these three. First name, last name, middle name. So there's no point creating a column for full name since they can be gotten from others. In this case, full name, even when your database needs or your application, even when your application needs the full name, the fact that you can always get the full name from other columns means that you don't need to create any column in your database called full name. You don't. In this case, full name will be called a derived attribute. And derived, since you can get from others, there's no point creating a column for it in your database. Please, any question before we go?
No question, sir.
Let's proceed. So we've discussed these two. Who can tell me the difference between stored attributes and derived attributes before we go to key attributes?
Um, so, like, store just means the entity that carries the other attributes.
The entity that
Carries the whole attribute inside it.
okay. What about derived?
Attributes.
That's all.
That dependency of attributes.
Okay.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, yes, I can hear you.
That dependency
so much.
attributes, yes.
Alright. Now, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let me make a little adjustment. You did well. You got the derived attribute very well. They are attributes that they depend on others, but they can be derived from others. But stored attributes are those attributes that you store in your database. Remember, I said that derived attributes are not stored. You don't store them in your table. You don't create any column for them in your table. You don't. You don't. But for stored attributes, they are those attributes that you have to create columns for them because you cannot derive them from others. So, example, like I said, is the date of birth, is this first name, last name, middle name. Those are examples of stored attributes. Your email is a stored attribute because if you don't get it from users, if you don't store it, there's no way you can derive it from other things you have in your database. Do we understand this?
Okay, I'm not getting it now.
Then, I want to look at key attributes.
Yes, I get.
Alright, thank you. So I want to look at key attributes. Key attributes are those attributes that uniquely identify each row in your table. In other words, you can say key attributes are like candidate keys. Candidate keys. Please, I once explained candidate keys, foreign keys, alternate keys. Please, you can tell me the difference between it, or we can explain this today. Candidate key, primary key, alternate key.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, sir, I can hear you. I can hear you, sir.
Primary key is the unique key.
Okay.
Primary key is the unique key, yes.
Okay.
Yes, the unique key. Then the other one,
Candidate key.
candidate key.
Okay.
Candidate key is just is a cluster. Is a cluster of other keys.
Okay.
It's a cluster of other keys that carries other keys. Yes. Then the other one is what other key again?
Alternate key.
Alternate. I've forgotten about. I've heard of that one, but I've forgotten.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That's good. Who can help us? look at it together. Let's quickly revise this. You see, when you have a table in your database, a table will have many columns. Columns like first name, like last name, email, maybe, what's it called? NIN, right? So let's say my table has this first name, last name, this NIN, email. Let's say we have this things here. Among all of these, there will be a primary key. A primary key is that one that uniquely identifies each row in your table. And you will agree with me that NIN can serve as the primary key because in this case, at least no two rows will have the same NIN, national identification number. If you are listening to users, you don't expect that two users or two rows will have the same NIN. So you can call this the primary key. But wait, email can also be the primary key, provided that two rows cannot also have the same value at their email address. That is, you don't expect two users to have the same email address. So in this case, email can also serve as the primary key. So that now causes a problem. Which of them should we use as the primary key? Now, this is where candidate key comes in. Candidate key is that particular column that uniquely identifies each row. That is, where is that column whereby two rows cannot have the same values there. And in this case, both NIN and email, they meet this condition. In this case, two rows cannot have the same NIN, two rows cannot have the same email address. So it means that both of them are candidate keys. Do you get it?
Okay.
But from your candidate keys now, you will now select one of them as your primary key. Do you get it? You can have many candidate keys, but among your candidate keys, you just choose one of them, maybe like the most important of them, right? Then you select that as your primary key. Then all other keys that are part of the candidate keys or that are candidate keys, but of course you can only select, like since you have many candidate keys, I have NIN, I have email, and I've decided to select NIN as my primary key. That means that email is not the primary key. So every other candidate key that was not selected as the primary key becomes alternate key. I hope you understand this.
Okay, clear.
So key attributes are those attributes that uniquely identify each row. In other words, key attributes are more like the candidate key for your table. Those attributes that uniquely identify each row. In this case, NIN uniquely identify each row. That is, no two rows can have the same NIN. No two rows can have the same email address. So you can say that these ones, they are key attributes. Any questions so far?
No questions, sir.
Alright. Let's now go to the main thing we are doing today, which is ER diagram, entity relationship diagram. Sharifat, please, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. So we're going to, you can go to draw.io. Let's just go to draw.io. You can use the draw diagram. ER diagram, it tells us relationship between different entities in your tables. So, but I said between different entities. No, the question should not be what are entities. Entities, they are like objects, something that you can describe. For instance, when you have a user and you are describing that user, that is, this user we have a first name, this user we have a last name, this user we have email address, you are already describing that user. In that case, we call the user an entity. Something in your database that you can describe, that you are describing, right? That is an entity. Attributes, they are like...
Can you say entity refers to objects?
Yes, entities are basically objects. Do we get it?
Okay. Okay.
Now, if we are talking in terms of JavaScript, we can say entity is an object, while attributes, they are like the properties of the object. So attributes are those things that you use to describe an entity. For instance, when you are describing the user, you use first name to describe it. You use last name to describe it, the email of this user, the phone number of this user. So in this case now, this email, first name, last name, these are attributes of the user entity. Any question?
Okay. Clear.
So, and that's why we looked at some of the attributes that we can have. That is attributes of an entity that you can have in your database. Sorry, this is taking too much time to load. Let's open this on another page. Hopefully it will be faster now. So we've seen attributes. Let's now talk about relationship. In a database, in fact, in real life, nothing stands on its own. Everything will be in relationship with another thing. For instance, let's say in your database or in your application, you have a user, and we've already discussed that that user can be an entity. Right? That user wants to buy goods. That goods also, that good that the user wants to buy is also an entity, because the good is an item, is an object that we have its own properties. Like, what's the price of the good? Price is an attribute of good. How many goods do you want to buy? Quantities, and that means quantities are attributes of the good. Do you get it now? What is the good ID? The serial number of the good. Serial number is an attribute of the good. So in that case now, the user wants to buy the goods, or user buys goods. So the relationship between user and good is buy. The user buys goods. Do we understand this?
You can just say in English terms, like relationship means predicate or verb.
Yes.
Or okay, or can say conjunction, something like that, something that joins two entities.
Exactly. A relationship joins two entities. Tells us the kind of what happens between two entities. That is relationship. So when you are drawing ER diagram, there are some things you must keep in mind. For entities are represented with rectangle. I don't know why this is taking too long to load. So I want us to draw one or two diagrams today. They are represented with rectangles. Attributes, they are represented with oval shape. Why relationship? Relationship, they are represented with sphere. Like is it sphere? No, like a diamond shape. What do we call it? Rhombus. Rhombus shape. Relationship. Relationship. There's some with you know, like you have a square. I decide to bend it. Do you get what I mean? Something like this. Something like this. I wish this can load. I don't know why this is not loading. Tell you a minute, please. Let me check what is going on with this. So I don't know, this flowchart maker is not opening on this account. I don't know, so I've tried to open it in my personal account. So we're going to draw our ER diagram here, and these are those
Sorry, sir, to ask you this question.
okay, sir.
So in database,
Yes.
For like JavaScript, the JavaScript developers,
I can.
usually use MongoDB. Is this most times MySQL?
I can hardly hear you. I don't hear the full question, sir. Please, can you come again? I heard MongoDB, but
Hello, you
he's breaking.
can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
I said for like in JavaScript development, like is it possible to still use MySQL aside from MongoDB?
Yes, you can. You can. You can use let me. You can use SQLize to use so that you can use what they call MongoDB with sorry, Node.js with an SQL database. You can use SQLize.
Okay.
Aha. So I was trying to explain something. I said that when you are dealing with an entity, you use what? What about relationship? Which symbol do we use?
Relationship is diamond.
Good. Then what about attributes?
Over.
Good. Okay, good. Now you see, for attributes, we have different attributes. You know, we looked at stored attributes, we looked at derived attributes. Now for derived attributes, we used dashed over. Do you get it? It will be like dashed, something like this. Let me give an example. Like a number that looks like this. Okay. It's given its necessities. I have something like that. So a number that looks like this, dashed attributes, dashed over like this. Do you understand it?
Okay.
So when you're dealing with multi-value attributes, you use double over. That instead of just one over like this, the lines will be double. That tells anybody reading it that this is a multi-value attribute. Then when you're dealing with composite attributes, what you just do is that you split it again into its own sub-attributes. Let's take an example. I'll switch to my personal account now so that we can do an example. Let's say I have an entity for user. This shows an entity. Inside it, I can call it user. User, we have different attributes. Attributes are represented with over. So this is one. I can call this user ID. This is the primary key. For primary key, you underline it. How do we underline? I'm coming. Underline. Oops. Okay, yeah, this should underline. Yeah. So this underline shows that this is a primary key. Then we link them together. You just draw a line to connect the two of them together. So this is for the first one. Next is, let's say you are having your data. The table allows user to have multiple phone numbers. So that means the multiple phone numbers will be a multi-value attribute. Do we understand this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Multi-value attributes are represented with double over. I want to see if I can get double over shape here. more shapes. Let's check. I have something. Yeah, this is what I'm looking for. Okay. More shapes. It's not selecting. I don't know why this shape is not selecting. One second, this. I'm unable to select it. I don't know. Apply this setting. It's not selecting. I don't know what's wrong. But the idea is that for that you use double over. Do you get it? Instead of it being a single line, a single oval shape like this, for multi-value attributes like phone numbers. So it will be two of these lines that you're going to draw together. Any question on that? Hello?
Yeah, Mutu.
Alright.
Question, no question.
Next is for derived attributes, let's say like age. Let's like age. It's going to be dashed oval shape like this. Let me see if I can see it here. Scroll down. Oh, I can't see it. It's not there. It's not there. So it's oval shape, but it will be dashed like not like dotted over, right? Dotted over. So this is how you draw it. Then for date of birth, it will just be oval. Date of birth will be oval. Let's look at things like address. Address is a composite attribute. Yeah. Address. And let's put this somewhere here. Let's link them together. Address. This is a composite attribute. That means an attribute that has its own attributes. So this can be street name. Then this can be maybe house number. Let's shift this down a bit. Sorry. Then address can have a city name, right? The name of the city. Let's put this in. So this is for address. This shows that address is a composite attribute. This is how you handle composite attribute. That is, it's an attribute of user, but the address has its own attributes too. Let's now talk about relationship. A user buys goods, so goods will be another entity on its own. Good. Then the relationship between them is represented with diamond shape like this. Bice. Then you now connect them together with a line. So the next thing we want to look at is types of relationships that you have. This is not straight. Okay, I think this is straight now. So a user buys goods. The goods will also have its own entity. So this is how to draw an ER diagram. Question before we go to types of relationships. Do you understand this? Can we draw a diagram like this for a full application? Who's today? Are you still with me? Hello?
Hi.
So can you do a diagram like this for a full app? Sorry. For a full application, this is for just user and goods. Right. Can you do a diagram like this for a full application based on what we've done tonight? Okay. Please draw the diagram for an e-commerce system, like an e-commerce app. The entities you will have, the relationships, the attributes of each entity. Please do it. So we are already out of time. In our next class, we will now look at types of entities: one-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-many. We'll look at that in the next class. This is 3 minutes to 9. So I thought we'd be able to cover that tonight, but I think we had some challenges running this what's it called, draw.io on this account. I don't know why it was not opening on this account. So I had to switch to my personal account to run it. So next class, please, before the next class, draw the ER diagram for the e-commerce. Then next class, we look at those three: one-to-one, one-to-many. I don't want to rush it. It's a very important concept, especially the many-to-many part. It's very, very, very important that you get it. So please, do the assignment. We meet next week. Thanks for coming. Have a lovely night rest.